Hitman is one of my favorite video game series of all time. Ever since I was a little kid, I fell in love with Hitman 3. I mean Contracts, which is technically the third entry of the series, but they skipped the 3 and called it Contracts. And then they started the whole Hitman with a cool name. Contracts, Blood Money, and Absolution. And now in the present, where it's now been rebooted with some pretty exceptional missions and a phenomenal story, Hitman 2 being my most favorite. I can't tell if this is a Square Enix or an IO thing, but they delisted the previous 2 Hitman games and retitled the third one as just Hitman World of Assassination. That bundles the 2 games as a DLC for you to go back onto, even though it's still considered Hitman 3. It might be their way of reorganizing it, because if you had Hitman 2, you were able to go back and do the entire mission set for the first one and vice versa. But I found it to be like a really cool thing, like you're connecting them together without having to change to the second or third game, which they are doing, but they're reselling it at $70, making you have to pay for that simple feature. Also hurts that the game still requires an internet connection to play 99% of it when the franchise was born off of being a single player experience. So fuck it, I got a modded 360, why not just legally obtain a copy of every single Hitman on the 360?
I can obviously play Contracts, not a problem. We have the HD collection that has Contracts and Assassin or whatever, right? The whole point is I wanted to try playing it like I did before. And what I mean by playing it before, as a kid, I actually had it on a 360 and played the OG disc, like the actual OG Xbox disc of the game. This might be just because it's modded and it could just be like a compatibility issue, but once I load up, it loads up fine. And once you get past all these, little commercials and shit, it just stays here. It does not move. It just stays that way. I can stay here forever. It's been like this for 5 minutes, and it lags out the screen too. It's so weird why it's doing that, but absolutely nothing on this for some reason. It could be because it's modded for that reason. Could be just a weird compatibility issue with the modded Xbox, but I just remember playing it exactly how I did before on the 360, and it doesn't work this way, but whatever. HD remastered version it is for Contracts. I just wanted to play on the OG hardware because it's just better that way. You know what I'm saying? OG hardware, because I don't have an OG Xbox.
I honestly had to look up exactly where Contracts takes place, because you kind of just go to a room and collapse and boom, welcome to Hitman Contracts. The cutscene, or how it actually starts, is right after Blood Money. Even though the game came out 2 years before Blood Money, the sequence of events occurred at the end of the game. So while Agent 47 takes a nice little nap on the floor, we're essentially re-imaging his dreams or jobs he's done in the beginning before Silent Assassin took place. The entire timeline is actually weird, so here's the full timeline that I found on Reddit. Now to the actual gameplay. If you've played Codename 47, some of these missions will look very similar to you, but with a fresh coat of paint. What they did with the world gives you a very dark, grimy, and ominous feeling. It's always raining or snowing in every mission. It really adds on to the fact that what we're about to do is just as equally terrifying for the people we're gonna hunt down.
They were gonna hunt me, like an animal,
The newer games just drop you in with the objectives and hope you don't get caught. Sure, that's exactly what the gameplay is all about, but the level of atmosphere and level building makes these feel like separate video games. There's being a paid hitman with an objective, then there's being a paid hitman who's one big murder weapon. Contracts feels like you're stepping into a thriller movie, whilst the new ones feel like IO's shot at recreating a John Wick adaptation. The soundtrack for this is a fucking banger. It feels like Massive Attack's Mezzanine, but his older and edgier brother.
Hey, you leave the rock into us, okay? It's what we do.
The music accompanies the gameplay so magically well with every interaction, getting caught, poisoning drinks, or just crossing a certain point in the map. The music only immerses you deeper. The composer, Jesper Kyd, isn't just some kind of producer either. The guy's resume is remarkable. He won Best Original Music at BAFTA for the soundtrack in 2005. Kyd has now gone on to compose for Assassin's Creed 2 and on, Soul Calibur 5, Borderlands 2 and 3. He was just only freelancing for Eidos when he was composing the Hitman series. Absolute talent. My favorite mission as a kid has to be Deadly Cargo, but ever since I've been replaying this for the YouTube video, I think it has to be Traditions of the Trade. For one, the Easter eggs are just a neat little addition and adds to the mystery of the game. Who killed the guy? Why is the bathtub full of blood? Is the ghost who killed the innocent man? But anywho, there are multiple ways of killing this fat dude, and both ways are honestly ingenious. You can drown the guy in the pool, or overheat the fat bitch in the oven.
Ist ganz schön heiß hier drin.
Was ist hier los? Verdammte Scheiße. Verdammt nochmal, was ist hier los?
Lass mich raus! Lass mich raus! Lass mich raus! Verdammt nochmal, ich hab Herzprobleme!
Lass mich raus! Ich hab
Klaustrophobie! Oh Gott!
Even as a kid, I found this map to be intimidating, because it kinda is. You can even unbox a thing of flowers. Nah, I'm kidding, it's a fucking Spaz 12. It's obvious that you're given limitless options to complete your mission, but it's even more impressive when there's things of shotgun ammo laying around if you choose to go this mass murder route. This mission in particular feels like you can go anywhere and do anything. I spent about 2 hours just trying to get Silent Assassin on this mission alone, and never once felt annoyed or pissed off to call it quits. It just made me turn to a glutton for error and perfection. Name a game where you could look at the blood from the naked guy you just put a bullet in, seep through the walls, and the guard still sits there. Deadly Cargo will be my full second favorite, just for the fact it feels like a movie when you do it so well. I remember spending hours and hours just replaying this mission. The scenes of the car entering the container makes you feel like this is a much more urgent mission, and there's no time to make a mistake. You can play as the SWAT team hitting the ship and take the detonator in hand while they all look at you taking the helicopter that was negotiated for the terrorists that you just killed. Agent 47 don't fuck around. Honorable mentions are going to have to be the Meat King Party, the Barkov Bomb, and the Beldingford Manor. Overall, Hitman as a series has grown exponentially ever since Blood Money, becoming a AAA title and eventually IO buying back their respective properties from Square Enix. I have nothing really bad to say about the other games as well. It just feels like the overall scope for Hitman has changed ever since the 2016 reboot. Objectively, how these games hold up, they hold up so well after almost 20 years. I might have to make a video on the rest of the entire series. This is a very well done game. It's completely a reverse from nowadays. Graphics and visual fidelity have become such a focus in the modern day industry, and hopefully IO can go back to their roots and opt for more missions in smaller worlds, as Hitman in the early 2000s had become much more than a footprint and deserves more of a praise. IO, please give this a proper remaster for the Xbox Series S and X, PS4 and 5. I think the fans and newcomers will enjoy getting a piece of what the classic Hitman experience was like. Just please, no online DRM.